vaccine e gore re fenye le go ba le re needa vaccine e ke ka mokgwa ka mantšwi a ke tsebe gore ke a needa go mo introduce ka mo lapeng ka mo hae o ka se introduce mongwe wa lapa a gona a sa tsebeng tonakgolo ya rena ya mo Limpopo ha ona re sa tsebeng ntate wa mafulufulu wa mebereko e re boneng me ba re mitiro ya balabola a kere le bone le rena re ne re rana di-department tša di-disclaim mabitso a rena ne le bo poppy disclaim ona bjanoko re kgona le go bula melomo re bolele ne ba re botša gore ga o kgone le go bala dibuka the way a e beyang ka gona gore ga ba ka botša gore disclaimer ba re gore a gore a wa answera o paletše o answera ba ne re ba go botšiša question ka classeng mo wa re that's when you are called disclaim because at least if you can find some bit of evidence batla uzamanyana ba ufa le qualification. So we want to appreciate we are being led in this province and people won't tell you but rena re a ibona changes re a di bona dilo di tsamaya gabotse le province ya rena we are all going to get vaccine bo mmele bo ntate le re ka se le time because re etetswe pele ke monna wa o kwishisha gore bophelo ke eng a re emeng ka moka re amogele tonakgolo ya rena ba ile o tla ba re fa mantšwi ha ba fetša ba tla re bontšha gore re registera bjang.
Thank you. I go level MEC. Regardila fase. A ke thomeng ka go letamisha baroka ka moka le baeng ka moka ba re phalletseng mo legone jale ka ge program director MEC Ramathuba a šetše a boletše gore ge ke bolela mo e tlabe ke sa bolelele lena le nnoši tlabe ke bolela le South Africa e ka moka Limpopo e ka moka jale ka gore yalo le tla ntshwarela ke tlo ya ka kwa sejahlapi a kere batho ba Tooseng ba rutile ka kgwadi ya Moleke a ka o rutile sekgowa ka kgwadi ya Moreke jale re tla berekiša sona sela sa Bosch Plus le kgwadi ya Moleke. Program Director Honorable MEC Dr. Ramathuba, our most valued health workers, Councillor Mphahlele, representative of the mayor, acting mayor of Capricorn District Municipality, ladies and gentlemen, our meeting here today signifies yet another milestone in government's unwavering commitment to tackle COVID-19 head-on. We are indeed making strides in the rollout of South Africa's biggest vaccination drive in COVID-19 vaccination campaign. I am sure, or should I say I'm sure, that we can all bear testimony to the prudence that government has applied throughout the whole time in the fight against this pandemic, COVID-19. Standing here today before you, we can proudly say to ourselves that indeed we are on course. We know exactly what we are doing. And we can see the destination that we are getting to. In just a matter of few days, we shall see the conclusion of the first phase of COVID-19 vaccination campaign, which is targeted towards frontline health workers. This will signal the immediate commencement of the second phase, which is targeted towards citizens who are 60 years and above, who in actual sense are classified as amongst the most vulnerable when it comes to COVID-19 mobility and mortality. The hallmark of a caring government is to protect first the most vulnerable. The vaccination of this section of the society will also begin with registration, just like with the rest of the other societies or the vaccination processes. We are aware that others might frown at this process, especially now that it involves senior citizens. We want to assure our people that the registration process is not intended to increase the red tape on the entire vaccination process, but instead it ensures that vaccination happens in a more transparent and more convenient way. Program Director, the process of vaccination, of registration, will ensure that government achieve its objective of distributing the vaccine amongst all its qualifying citizens equitably. Ga go tlo ba gore le taba gore o mong ga kry vaccine ka gore e se ngwana mang go ba ile ngwana mang le mang e tlo mo fitlhella vaccine re itlisha we. It is critically important that all qualifying sections of the society vaccinate for COVID-19 because the most fundamental element of government strategy to defeat this pandemic is to achieve what we call herd immunity. Here we will be having a certain percentage of people who will be vaccinated such that the virus can no longer spread in communities. Hence, it is critical that we must assist all our elderly people to ensure that they all register for this vaccine. Because if you don't register, you'll not be able to get the vaccine. So it is important that we all register so that government and health workers know where to find you when they need you to get the vaccine. Today we are launching the registration stage in which we will be supporting those who can register on their own. We are well aware that many of our senior citizens who reside in rural areas and townships like myself, who's residing here in Tooseng, are not in a position of a smart Android cell phone, let alone to operate it. In appreciating the rural nature of our province, I have instructed the MEC for Health, Dr. Popira Matu, to come up with ways and strategies which will ensure easy access to registration for all our senior citizens who are above the age of 60, regardless of their location or material conditions. The MEC has promised me that in the few coming weeks, her department will announce facilities which will serve as registration sites for those who cannot register them on their own. Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the second way of increasing access to registration for the current phase. While doing that, we also appreciate the fact that due to the vastness of our province and the geographical spread of our facilities, there are communities, or community members who might still be living a little bit far from a health facility. And some are also frail, more so because we are talking about senior citizens here. We will then launch the third way of increasing registration, where our community health workers will go on a door-to-door to register those who are unable to access the two mentioned ways for one reason or another. Our community health workers, healthcare workers, are currently being trained to undertake this mammoth but very noble work. These ways of increasing access to registrations, which we have mentioned above, marks the uniqueness of how our province is approaching the registration for this phase of vaccination. But for today, we want to request and also encourage all sections of the society, particularly next of kin of the elderly who have access to smart Android phones and data to assist them with the registration. This will ensure that once the vaccination process starts, they will be invited to come and vaccinate at their nearest vaccination sites. We need to emphasize that it is important to register in advance because only those who are registered in the Electronic Vaccination Data System, EVDS, will be allowed to receive the vaccine. As a way of setting an example, I will publicly register on the EVDS here today so that once the vaccine becomes available, I also can be vaccinated and make sure that I protect not only myself, but even those who are around me. Ladies and gentlemen, with those few words, MEC Dr. Ramathuba, and ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to say that today is not a day of long speeches, rather a day of doing the work. Mošomo a o tšhabeng diatla batho ka moka re te ngwadišeng re kgoneng go tla re hwetša tšhwana e jwale ka ge ba šetše ba boletše ba re mamphatlhela ge le mmona e le moka a le 92 years ke ka baka la gore o tšere ditšhwana tše dintši la gopola ge re sa le ka mo sekolong bo hwetša go e ba ditšhwana tša bo di ba re ke bo polio tše dingwe le tša bo pšhatlapšhatlane tše dingwe le tša mmoko tše dingwe le tša TB ke gopola o ka re ya TB nkile ya ba gona le yona le tša TB ke kgale mauba a re wela gomme ga a re wela re sa dule fase ra phutha matsogo ra re na kgante modimo o re dirang ge ya re wela mauba be re ema ka maoto re nyaka ditšhwana re hwetse ditšhwana ba tle ba re hlabele ka moka ga rena ke ka baka leo o hwetšago e le gore batho gone bjale re sa phela ebile re gotse re we are over 60 years of age. So ge le tloga mo a re direng le la Mosotho la gore mona le molomo o na le malome age re tšame re botsana re laletša tabe gore na go ngwadišiwa jwang and go se o ngwadiše o tlo hwetša e le gore o hwetša bothata a se gore o ka se hwetše mara o tlo hwetša bothata go swantse o hwetša tšhwana so bokaone ke gore o ngwadiše gore batho ba le ba ba bitšang di-community health workers ba kgone go tseba gore ba tlo go hwetša kae neng jwang a ke re go ngwadišitše tla ba na le di-phone number tša gago le go le ka spitse goba le ka kwa seeno o le madišong ba kgona go founela ba re o tseba gore ka tšatši la gore re etla moraswiri tlo go hlabela napile wa emela wa tseba gore ka nako e itseng ba mmušo wa etla ba tlo ntlhabela tšhwana ya ntho ya COVID-19. COVID-19 ye ba gešo e feditše setšhaba ba bantši re a tseba re sane mabadi mo re lego ntshe ka gore re ne ba e leng gore meloko ya kgausu ba e leng gore ba re šiile ka tabe ya COVID-19 jwale ba re COVID-19 ye gone jwale go tla the third wave le bone gore ya bobedi ele ya go tla ka December, January, the second wave ke yona ya go fetša batho ba bantši ga kudu mo ga borena bo o hwetša go ya ka mo o fetša mo tseleng ya marulaneng mo la ga Thabadiawa mola mabitleng gantši mo ga borenang ke o hwetša mo la Thabadiawa goba ka mo dirapeng tša ga borena o hwetša go na le mahu a mararo a mane ka nako e teng mara ka nako ela ya COVID-19 ya January, February bo o kry-a go no hwetša go ne mahu a 5 ka mo Tooseng le gona go na le a mane go ya kwa mo tserereng le gona the same thing ka taba ya yona COVID-19. So Barishu Butali Buchwal Vadi. While Loma Kisluana Swan are having Limokulu. Kialeo.
Rito Hupela Jeki Masimi Utlata Willy Fine. So that Tunakulu whatever Rebaboneva register. Actually, we do guys. I'm feeling login. Okay. By law register, but our boncha Nakamuka or register. Bawali phone. If we are above 60, Lerena recancha phone Naratoma register. It doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are. If you are watching, take out your phone as long as you are above 60. Some people were asking how MEC Premier, how above 60. Where you are, what you eat. We choose. Life is about choices. He takes care of himself.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC, colleagues, Batwadi. We will be assisting the Honorable Premier to do a self-registration on the EVDS. Like the MEC has said, this is where people are registering for themselves on their cell phones. The other method of registration, that's where people will be assisted at health facilities. So today we will be assisting the Premier. He will be registering himself on his cell phone so that he shows everybody that how it is done. Honorable Premier, over to you. We will be assisting you.
Katseva Kamukara Ram Pateles Quas Tuluki. I want them to have a language Quaram Patel. If Ella say Jiki having us later, or Baton Taita for register you are wrong or usually. So Baba Sir, what the smartphone and tour Bata Pagam. Okay.
Those who have the smartphones, there is a link for self-registration. It has been made available in all social media platforms. It has been made available in all social media platforms. So you can go to that link and we start the registration process. When you get to the landing page, it will ask you if you are a healthcare worker and if you are over 60. So Premier will select that he is not a healthcare worker and he is above 60, and he will proceed to go and register for vaccination.
Don't capture his ID.
It is very important when you register, you need to have your ID. There are three methods of registering. You can either use your South African ID, you can use a passport, or you can use a refugee number.
South African ID Kamuka, I can't say Chapata Jilajaka. Mutalapo.
So the Premier will be entering his ID number. And to make sure that the ID that has been captured, it is the correct one, he needs to verify. So you have to enter your ID number twice so that you are certain that you are using the correct ID number. And then you will scroll down. The date of birth will be pre-populated, then the premier will then enter his yes, he will his names and surnames. And it is important that the name and the surnames are as they appear on your ID document. Right, then you will proceed to the next field and indicate the gender, and you will say it's a male. And also tick the checkbox to confirm the personal details, and he will proceed to the next step. That is correct. The second step is to provide the contact details. Even with the contact details, to make sure that you are providing the correct phone number, you need to enter the phone number 2 times. This phone number is very important because it will be used as a means of communication between the department and the person who will be receiving the vaccination. So it is important that you provide the correct phone number. After providing that, the premier will then proceed to the next step. Right. I think premier, you can also interact with the app so that people see what you are seeing. On this step,
Step 4 of 8, residential address.
That is correct. So the fourth step is when the premier will enter his residential information, starting by selecting the province, which is Limpopo. Then it will ask for the municipality where we are, which is Lepelengumbi. Then it will ask for a city. Our city here is Lewakomu. And then it will ask for a suburb. We do not have a suburb here, but we use Lewakomu again. Right? And then we will proceed down. Then the premier will need to enter his physical residential address. That is correct. Then the premier will proceed to the next step. What does it read?
Step 5 of 8, appointment preference.
That's
You
right.
want to get vaccinated at a vaccination site close to you, to where you live.
Hey, so in this step, we are requested to enter the preferred appointment. The address that we have entered will be used to determine the closest health facility where you will get the vaccine.
Step 5 of 8, appointment preference. Choose from the following options for your appointment.
That is correct.
Would you prefer to be vaccinated on a weekend or weekday?
So here you have a choice whether you need to get the vaccine on a weekday or on a weekend. And also you have a choice whether to come in the morning or in the afternoon, because we do not want people to come all at once so that we can observe social distancing. So others will be scheduled to come in the morning, others will be scheduled to come in the afternoon. Then you have to tick your preference, which one do you prefer to do. Then after you tick, you will proceed to the next step. Right.
South African COVID-19 vaccination, step 6 of 8, medical aid. Please provide your medical aid details. It is important to note that your medical aid will pay the government directly for this vaccine. This will not influence your day-to-day savings or any other benefit. You will not be required to pay for this vaccine, and no co-payment or levy, a levy will be required. You belong to a medical aid.
So more, it is requesting that are you belonging to a medical aid? We know that there are elderly people who are belonging to a medical aid who their children have put on. But the majority of the elderly people, they do not belong to a medical aid. If you do belong to a medical aid, you will select yes. If you do not belong to a medical aid, you will select no. If you do belong to a medical aid, it will then request which medical aid scheme are you belonging to. Then you will select the medical aid scheme. It will also request the medical aid number that you belong to. Does the premier have the medical aid number with you?
No, I don't have it. So what do we do? Can I enter it later?
For the purpose of this demonstration, we are going to say the premier does not belong to a medical aid, so that the process can be completed and then it will be corrected. However, it is very important that you honestly specify whether you are on a medical aid or you are not. So we will say no, and then it will proceed to the next step.
Step 7 of 8, terms and conditions. Please note that the self-registration information provided will reflect on your vaccination record. Please confirm that the following is correct. First names and surname, Chupu Mathabatha ID is correct. Mobile number is correct. I hereby confirm that the information provided is my personal information and is correct. Then I tick in the box.
So this is the second last step in the registration process. You have to confirm and verify that the details that you provided are correct. And the next thing, after you have confirmed, you have to agree to the terms and conditions. You agree that you will receive a vaccination. Then you have to tick, and then from there you complete the registration process.
Okay. The message says you have successfully registered for the South African COVID-19 vaccination program. Summary of what to expect next will be: you will receive an SMS within the next 24 hours on the mobile number you provided confirming successful registration for vaccination. Closer to the time of your vaccination, you will receive another SMS with the date, time and place for your vaccination. If you have entered your medical aid details, please bring your proof of your medical aid.
Thank you very much. That concludes the registration process. Can we clap hands for the premier?
Yeah, Leboga Jackie, the premier. Now the premier is a champion here registration. Relotoma with our first client, but probably more researcher Tomila who register we are going Jackie, we are going to assist Mam Patel now for her to register. We are going to, before we leave to other households where we will also be showing them how to register. You can lead us. I told you what is special about Mama Cheki. She's 92 years old. She's a retired midwife who worked at this clinic. So she deserves to be given that particular attention. Can you?
Thank you, MEC. I think to demonstrate another method, which is assisted, I'm going to call one of the community healthcare workers, because they will be doing that part so that they come and assist Granny know how to register. Sis Jackie Pasha, please come and assist Mama to register.
You're going to go to her. Yeah.
Sis Jacqueline or Manja, please come to Mom herself.
No, you're fine.
Mama ba sa nyaka ID. Re ska ba felela pelo. Phone number by waiting mo pasa. Listen now. Oh, you were registered already. Okay. Mara liseke le feditse ka bona. Do you the cherry number ya bona? Oh. No, kaufela bona. She's registered. Okay. No, Mama Jackie, ba le registering. A message you tla tsena mo phone all of Linaka Muka, everybody tell my visually. Verbally registering. Yes, but when it's like Riamila. Okay. Now I think we are done. Let's clap hands for our community of workers. They were proactive. So already Tooseng research registerile re a tseba a re botšele ba bangwe ba ba sa registerang gore ba tlogolo ba ba thushe go registera ba le ko gae. Re fitlhile mafelong re tlo gopela bo councillor khatla ba emetseng mayor wa rena bo executive mayor bo John Mpe gore ba tle ba re lebogele. From there we are moving to the first household where we are going to also assist our register.
Ke thomega dumedisha lena batswadi ba ka bo MEC bo premier the community health workers kere tore mashumaga ko mo kopana legatong la bo executive mayor John Mpe re rata go leboga ba beakanyi ba event e go tla go sedimoša setšhaba sa gešo ka vaccine e leng gona le go registera gore ka nnete di ska le tsa ka ntle. Ke leboge bo program director le bana bo MEC gore le moša setšhaba gore re na le magato a mararo a re ka ra humana go ba ngwadišetša yona ntho ya vaccine gore le ka gae re ka e humana mo sepetlele le gona re ka tla ra e humana gape le di-community health workers di ka tla ja dia home visit ya ba wa fetoga mašola a rena a tla ba dira door to door go tsena motse ka motse go tla go thuša go registera tiragalong. ke rate ke leboge bo moemedi wa lepeleng kumpi bo councillor Ramatsimela Lina Mphatlhele gore amogela motseng o wa Tooseng le gore lokolola gore dilo ka moka re lokologa re bolele re ska ra tšhaba selo re councillor re leboile se le se dirileng gape ke lebo bo premier gobane ka moka re be re fiea re bona o ka re ke ntho ya boima go register e fela ke be ke ditse nna ke ngwala kgato ka kgato gore nna ge ke tlogamo ke ska tla ka lebala le kgato eng gore premier re leboga le badudi ba Tooseng ka nnete jwale ka badudi ba gore na ba le Limpopo se le se dirileng ba se strike mo amotla re ikgantšha ka lena ga se lešii ka gore ba bangwe ba tšhaba so ke kgato ye botse premier le dirileng ke dimo re ska felela mo e fetse e tswela pele ke leboga di-officials tša rena ba department ya health also le premier's office gore ka nnete se le se dirileng mo lekgono ke modiro mo botse ke re ge le tlogamo le sepele ga botse modimo wa khutšo wa lerato a le etelele pele le modiro le yang o ikgafela go šomela setšhaba sa gaešo sa Limpopo le šome ka botshepegi modimo wa kgotsabele lena ke a leboga
re a leboga councillor Kgatla go fitlha gone benong province ya Limpopo re proud gore mo motseng wa Tooseng re na le premier ba registerile mme ya raba letšatši wa mmamotha le bona setse ba registerile re feditše ka bona le 10 more people re feditše ka go ba registerisa la bona re ntho e fast re na le 12 people ba re feditše go registera just within this short space of time so re tlo registera lesolo le re tla tsamaya province ka moka re thuša batho go registera so that when the time comes re kgone go dira ke tlo gopelela re emelele ka moka re dumelele premier ba rena ba re etele pele re ya ka motseng wa Mathomo rena ba bangwe re tlo šala re tlo thušiwa ba ba tshwantse ba yo thuša premier ko a re yang a re tsamaile
Thank you.